Paris, 1720. A man walks through a crowd, and the world he created crumbles before his eyes. People scream. Once rich men clutch worthless pieces of paper. Coins are gone. Promises have replaced them. And this man? He's not a king, not a banker, but a gambler. The man who invented money. What happens when a single man convinces an entire nation that paper can be gold? This is the story of John Law, the Scottish genius who turned imagination into currency and nearly ruined France in the process. Before John Law, money was metal. Coins were made of gold and silver. If you didn't have metal, you didn't have wealth. But Europe was changing. Wars were draining the treasury. After Louis XIV's endless wars, France was impoverished. Its economy was collapsing. Its people were desperate. Imagine a country running on IOUs, trying to buy food with promises that can't be fulfilled. Then came John Law, mathematician, economist, and convicted murderer. He fled to Scotland after killing a man in a fight, but exile gave him time to think. What if money didn't have to be gold? What if trust were enough? Law's idea was revolutionary. He believed money should reflect productivity, land, trade, and people's confidence in the future. So when he arrived in France, he proposed the idea of a national bank, one that would print notes, not with gold, but with trust. The French regent, desperate to save the state, agreed. In 1716, Law created the Banque Générale, which issued paper money that people could trade for goods. Initially, it worked very well. Farmers sold crops, merchants traded quickly, and loans were paid in paper instead of heavy coins. France breathed a sigh of relief. The illusion came true. But Law didn't stop there. He created the Mississippi Company, promising riches from America's wild lands. People lined up to invest, imagining rivers of gold and endless trading. It was like the stock market before the stock market. Madness, dreams, and greed all rolled into one. Imagine a modern startup bubble, everyone buying shares of a fantasy. Only this time, it wasn't tech. It was the entire nation's economy. Paper became wealth. Wealth became trust. Trust became madness. But like all delusions, it couldn't last. People wanted to cash in their paper for gold, but there wasn't enough gold to cover it all. Trust crumbled. Mississippi shares began to plummet. In Paris, a crowd gathered outside the bank. The paper that once made fortunes was now useless. The same hands that had praised Law were now throwing stones at his car. The streets were filled with panic. Investors went bankrupt overnight. Families lost everything. The Great Mississippi Bubble burst, the world's first financial crash. John Law disguised himself as a woman and fled Paris. He escaped with almost nothing. The man who printed the money is now begging for coins. The crash ruined thousands, but it also taught the world a dangerous truth, that money isn't metal or paper, it's trust. John Law's experiment was the blueprint for today's finance. Central banks, credit systems, and stock markets all share its DNA. Even today, when governments print money or people trade digital coins, they still live in the shadow of John Law. He proved that you can build a kingdom with trust. He also proved how easily that trust could be shattered. John Law died in Venice in 1729, alone, forgotten, and broken. But his ghost never leaves us. Every time a market gets hyped, every time a government prints too much money, every time people believe dreams more than data, John Law smiles from the shadows of history. Because he wasn't wrong that money is trust. He was wrong to think that trust could never be broken. So tell me, if the value of money is only what we believe, how much trust do you still have left in it?